Hi, my name's Rick Barton from Adexi, who are a specialist data integration and management consultancy. I'd like to welcome you to this short presentation comparing the traditional waterfall development lifecycle with data prototyping. And I'd like to demonstrate how data prototyping can help prevent projects overrunning on time and cost. So let's begin with the traditional waterfall method. A waterfall project normally starts with a user or business requirements document. This is typically high level and requires transformation into a technical document known as the high level design. Any problems found during the high level design will normally reflect changes back into the user or business requirements. The high level design is then translated into one or more documents known as the low level designs. Again, problems in the low level design may need to be reflected back in the high level design or even into the business requirements and then cascaded back down the waterfall. And so on through coding, unit and system testing, where there is always the potential for issues to result in changes right back at the business requirements level and the need for those changes to be cascaded back down through to system test. Next comes the user test. This is normally late in the project and it's the first time that the users get to see their data. And this is a point where we're most likely to hear the words, "This isn't what we asked for." So we have to go through the whole life cycle again from business requirements back down to user test. And this will normally result in overrunning in cost and time until finally, after a great deal of pain, we can go live. So why does this happen? Well, there are three main flaws with the waterfall approach. Firstly, the three key points shown on the slide are where the requirements need to be translated from high level to low level technical requirements. And this is where the deviation between what is required and what is delivered takes place. And it's not uncommon on large projects for different people to write the different documents, which compounds this problem even further. Secondly, it's almost impossible to visualize upfront exactly what data is needed for a project, how it will behave during translation, and how it will behave on the target system when it's used in anger. Yet this is exactly what the waterfall method depends on. And finally, the users only get to test their data after the majority of time has elapsed, effort's been expended, and budget has been spent on the project. This is often too late in the day for changes to be managed within the agreed timescale, and generally overrun will occur. So now let's take a look at data prototyping. Data prototyping is different from waterfall in that it takes a data-centric approach to development. The process begins with the actual source data, for example flat files or database tables. These are then loaded and profiled so that any problems with the data can be understood and dealt with early within the project. The next stage is the prototyping stage, and this takes a form of a workshop where users and IT can manipulate the data such that it matches the expected output from the project. The output file, which is created from the prototyping stage, can then be loaded into the target system where the users get the opportunity to test it in situ and check that it works in both form and function. Now there may be iterations at this stage. However, once the users are happy, we can create a development specification. This matches exactly the rules used to prototype the data, and we can begin coding. Once we've completed our coding, we have a great feature in prototyping. If we use the same data for the code as we use for the prototype, then a large part of unit testing can be avoided by comparing this output with the prototype output. Now this isn't a comprehensive set of tests because there will still be a need to perform destructive testing and perhaps even test additional scenarios that we didn't find in the data used for the prototyping. But it does generate a great deal of confidence that the basic business rules are correct. So once we've completed our unit test, we can then proceed through system and user test and put the project live. So let's take a look at the benefits of this approach over waterfall. Firstly, the majority of iterations will be at the beginning of the project before the major expense of coding and testing is incurred. It's a very hands-on approach, so it's much less abstract than waterfall, which means that the users can test their data in advance of coding and be confident of the behavior of their data both during translation and on the target. And this means that there's a much lower risk of the requirements being misinterpreted and the users saying this isn't what we asked for. And finally, the reduction in time to data results in a greater degree of certainty that what is coded will perform as expected. And finally, a word about x88. x88 Pandora is a product that enables data prototyping by allowing you to profile all your data up front, giving you a very clear view of what to expect from your data. It provides the ability to transform in real time in a workshop your data via a user-friendly and easily understandable interface. It will generate the prototype data and the specifications used by the coders that ultimately will reduce the risk of late delivery and thereby save you time and save you money. So I'd just like to say thank you for tuning in and goodbye.